of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to our meeting. Just for point of reference, off to your rear there is an exit, as well as off to your right, as the exit noted. Just for the purposes of roll call, please. Trustee Ferraro?
Present.
Trustee Carl?
Present.
Dwyer here. Just for the record, absent is Trustee O'Connor and Trustee Berenger. Thank you. O'Connor. Just a real quick, Trustee O'Connor's mother-in-law passed away. So on behalf of the village, I sent some flowers up to the funeral, up to the wake. Okay, first order of business is a presentation by our marketing company partners, 23 Marketing. I'm going to let you folks take it a go.
Great. Thanks so much, Neil. I'm Tony Marino. I'm the president and CEO of 23 Marketing, and this is McKenna Hiller, who's our senior marketing coordinator and also a Monroe resident. So, town. But certainly she's been excited, and we're all excited to be working with the village. We began back in the spring, and what we've come here today to do is to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing and some results that we've seen so far, and we look forward to continuing to grow some not only tourism opportunities, but also opportunities for the residents of the village and the town as well to utilize the village and support the businesses that are here.
Absolutely.
That's one of our keys.
Yes.
So I'm going to go into just like backtracking a little bit to when we first met with you guys, what our initial strategy and game plan was. And really it was to reignite the passion, pride, and community for the village of Monroe in the eyes of both the community locals and the greater metropolitan area. You know, like we feel like there's been a little bit of a loss, especially in younger generations, and like the pride and excitement towards the town. So like I said, reigniting that pride. And the plan and execution for doing this was to be done through social media campaigns, e-blasts to target multiple demographics, the visitors and the locals, rebranding the overall look to be more modernized and appealing to people outside of the town and within the town, paid advertising, and then collaboration with local businesses in the town.
And of course, we did present a marketing plan back earlier in late winter, early spring. And one of the targets we're trying to align a lot with what Orange County Tourism is doing and the millions of dollars that they're spending in that market. And our idea is to piggyback that and make sure that when people are coming up 17 or going back down 17, the future I-86, that they stop here in the village of Monroe and support our businesses. And then, of course, targeting our local, the villagers, as we call them here,
Sure.
to make sure they do the same.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to start by just going into social media. We won't go too much into the numbers, but I'll give you some background on kind of the strategy. We've been doing a mix of things to target both the visitors and the locals, and this includes business highlights every single week to gain more traction in those local businesses and also highlight what makes them special and what makes our town special to the visitors that are coming in. Anything from the restaurants to the storefronts. Also, as you can see, like the library and the library events that they put out, in addition to nature spots like, you know, the mill ponds and videos in relation to that, to attract visitors to come in and check out town. And then also things like history facts and basically we're trying to diversify this content to make it interesting and engaging so that people can really get a true feel and understanding of the story of our town and what makes it special, what makes it unique, what people are here. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm glad you can see it. Yeah. So below are May 1st to October 16th. These are the stats that since starting. So we've seen a dramatic improvement across all of our social channels. We've reached almost 80,000 people on Facebook. We've had over 20,000 profile visits, which is up 1,000% since before we started. We have 360 new page likes, which is like 360 new followers. And then on Instagram, we've reached 2,400 people. We've had 1,300 profile visits and 196 new followers, which these followers are pretty substantial in this period of time, and that what that tells us is that, you know, on Facebook and Instagram, people are coming to our page because we're reaching them, but then they're also following us and engaging with us because they appreciate the content we're providing and want to see what the village has to offer moving forward in terms of events or stores that they can come check out, or businesses they want to come visit, like, you know, local restaurants that feature something that they might like to see. So through doing this like very diverse style of marketing to showcase all the businesses and offerings in the village, we're able to attract the interest of a lot of people with varied interests as well that will engage with our content.
Yeah, so there's obviously different, people have different tastes and things that they're looking for. Well, we have a variety of businesses and a variety of events, variety of, you know, opportunities around town that attract both the villagers to come into the village if they're on the outskirts, but also for tourists to come in. So these stats are important to recognize also that this is over 5 months, just a little over 5 months what we were able to do. We've put some resources into it, we put some effort into it, and we've gotten pretty good feedback, not only in the stats, but also from some of the businesses out there as well, that we are getting engagement. One of the goals is to drive more, if I go to that next slide there. You know, we want to look at data and say, what does the data tell us? Is it supporting what some of our goals were early on? We knew that we wanted to target women because we do know that women make a lot of the decisions in the household. So especially, you know, in those target, you know, the New York City metropolitan market, those women are going to make the decision if they're coming to Legoland or Woodbury Common or whatever they're doing. Their majority of them are going to make the decision for the family trip, plan it out. That's speaking generally. Of course, there are others that would do that, but we do know that we look at our audience, it gives us those insights. 72% are women, 28% men. Okay, locations, we know we have a lot of followers that are from the Monroe area. That's a breakdown of that, but we also know that we've added some from the New York City market as well. And you see Central Valley there. We know the majority are there. The idea is to grow that number outside of just Monroe here, the town and the village as well.
And we're going to go into how we plan to tap into that New York City market moving forward later on in this. So what we've seen through the content we shared, I'll just go through this quickly. On Instagram, people love seeing local stores to shop in, like the Lake Street Shops and Crystal Connections. And we know this because the statistics and analytics show us that those are the most popular posts that people engage with on Instagram, along with just beautiful pictures and videos of the town. And then on Instagram, a lot of younger moms and stuff, they like to see things like events, like the library events and the Cheese Festival and stuff like that. And then on Facebook, a little bit of an older demographic, people really like to see local food spots that they've been going to for a long time, events just like on Instagram, people love to see events and share the events that are happening in town. And then on Facebook, people really appreciate learning about the history of Monroe. So the reason I bring these up is just to track kind of what we've done, and we're kind of seeing some popular insights. We know what to lean into more moving forward, like more heavily, so we have a gauge of what's been popular and liked across these channels.
And something, you know, that we learned a little bit was the history part. People are engaging with the history part. Do they want a piece of that? Yeah. We've got to have variety on the feed because it can't be the same thing all the time. They'll get tired of it. They'll tune out, and the algorithms will tune us out or tune them out to it. So by mixing up the content, we think we found a right mix of the formula, but we've got to keep it fresh, and we'll continue to do that with those varieties, local food spots, events, history, all of that. And then there's obviously some important public information that needs to go out there that we share on the page as well. That's part of it. You want to share the e-blast?
Yeah, so we've sent two really big e-blasts. The most recent one was our fall e-blast. We realized that 95% of the people opening it are on desktops, which is interesting. And then people through these e-blasts are most interested in, again, restaurants, events, and the nature spots in town. It seems to be like a common trend that's happening. And so, again, we're leaning more into this stuff. The fall e-blast was a new thing that we're going to start doing quarterly or seasonally, where we basically, say hi to locals and visitors welcome them into the new season and give them some ideas of activities and things to do in town, local business shout outs and things like places to visit during the weather, and then just like some fun external facts, maybe a recipe, maybe a craft idea, things that really appeal to all people, so it's a full all-encompassing e-blast that's interactive.
Sure.
And then we've had 52 new subscribers. We're gonna go into how we think we can boost that as well.
So the website, one of our goals, and recognizing, we want to measure every plan. One of those goals is to increase traffic to the website. So we're comparing it year over year as to what we were able to do as far as the stats to the website. We were able to increase overall visitors. You see the marks there. I mean, we went from 6,000 during the same time period last year up to 39,000. Visits from social media, there was an increase there as well. Obviously, we're spending some time and resources on social media. We want to see some results. So we're directing people, a lot of those posts went to the events page. So it was, hey, do you want to know more about this event? Well, we have a calendar listing of all the events going on. It's on the website. We would drive people there. So it was good to see that number increase as well. And then when we see an increase in Google search, it tells us that there's more name recognition. So while people are searching Monroe maybe, to get them to the Village website, they have to be looking for the Village of Monroe. So now there's more organic search visits coming to the site. Organic means we didn't pay for it. People are typing the name in, and that's good. So maybe they do type Monroe and maybe the town comes up first, but the more that we can get people to type Village of Monroe, they're gonna come directly to us. That's the way that Google works. So I'm excited about that we were able to increase that. You see the increase there, just 2,000 the previous year, now 18,000. So we know that we've been able to generate awareness. That's a great number for us to know that people recognize the name. And listen, there is a difference between the village and town. We want to make that known, make that part of the awareness. That's a key message for us. So there's a differentiation, and we believe that does that. The top pages during that time, events, we got them to the calendar, we got them to the listings. The Cheese Festival is very popular. Unfortunately, we all know the weather played a huge part in that this year, but there was interest out there. The news page, people always want to know what's going on. And then, the fourth out of the top pages there, the trash and recycling. What are they doing? When are they picking up? When are they missing it? People are always looking for that, of course, to see what other information is on that page as well. So those are your top 4 pages during that time on the website. Some of the advertising that we put into place, we felt it important when we first met that we defined the target markets, defined who we wanted to talk to, and there were some advertising dollars. We weren't going to get everything organically through Google or through social. So there were some resources put behind it. We went out and put some resources into Billboard. So we used it not only to put our campaign together, which is Venture Out More, which has been the overarching kind of theme of everything we do. Hey, venture out more, whether you're coming from the village, coming from the town, coming from New York City, venture out more. We've got a lot to offer. So we did have that billboard out there. We also used it for the Cheese Festival. I believe one of the other festivals that was going on. We have creative there, and that was on at the castle. Some of those you may have seen it. Eastbound and westbound there on the castle has a digital billboard, so we did utilize that. And we created 2 commercials. I know that people have seen them because they've told us. We had a couple commercials that were running on Hulu, Facebook, and Instagram during the summertime, and actually right up until the end of October they were running. They were about summer and fall and what you can do, and promoted the shops, the businesses. That was the idea. Restaurants as well, the diner, we spent some time there. We were also at a museum village, but we did a lot to try and promote people, again, to bring them in. And we're going to talk more about what we'd like to do for the holiday season. Using those same kind of opportunities. We ran on Hulu. For those that are cord cutters, they're watching more Hulu, and sometimes they're watching both. They're watching cable and they're watching Hulu, but we were able to get a pretty good reach with a modest budget on there. And I mentioned Facebook and Instagram as well. We did create some banners that we'll start putting up in warmer weather when it hits again, just to promote that Venture Out More campaign that we have going.
Yeah, and in that we did the Venture Out More, Venture Out Monroe campaign, as I was referring to earlier, as part of the rebranding to modernize the town. We have the mill, it's great, it's like the historical component of the town, but to attract a new, younger demographic and reignite passion, we wanted to provide something new and young that also tells a little bit of a story about what you can do currently in the town. You see the waterfall, you see like a shopping bag, you see the pond. So that was also the message we've been driving home through the venture out, like re-engage people, have them venture into Monroe. So continuing on, future web strategies. So I mentioned that there were 52 new subscribers to the newsletter, and we think that we can get that number up a lot. A major part of that is going to be creating some kind of pop-out box or a better placement for people to join the newsletter on the website. Right now, it's really confusing to find. You have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page to be able to join. And there's a huge opportunity there to engage people, communicate with people on a regular basis if we have them in our system, especially if we know that there's been a large increase on people coming to the website organically and through social media. If they have a box that says, hey, you want to know keep up with what's going on in the village, and they have an easy way to sign up, we're going to have way more people that are interested and in the know about what's going on in our town.
And I think it's also important to know we have all that traffic now coming to the site. We need to capture it. We understand that a lot of that traffic is local, but as we get the tourism crowd to start checking out our website, we need to capture them, and then we can segment the database and send messages that are just tourism specific. But it's important that we send those to the villagers, but also they need that public information that's public safety information as well that we need to push out regularly. But if we have people that don't live in the village that are receiving that, they may tune out and potentially unsubscribe.
Yeah, so in doing that, the first step would be, creating a pop-up or landing page to join the newsletter. And so we would make that known and present on the website, and then we would funnel people in through a social media campaign. So we would do something like, we create the web landing page so people can easily sign up for the e-blast. And then we would go onto social media and create some kind of advertisement that would draw people in and channel them to funnel into the website and sign up. And then through that, we can go into this more later, but we would create a specific list for tourists only and create emails and e-blasts that would go to the locals also, but also just to the tourists, so that the tourists weren't getting, the road closures and the voting and all that stuff. So the tourists were only getting targeted information that would interest them and want them to come to the town. So there's a whole strategy around that we can go into later. And then, as Tony mentioned, the commercial that we had just had run was a summer, spring, fall commercial. And we think that the village has a huge opportunity to capitalize on getting tourists to come in during the winter period. People are coming this direction. It's gorgeous. We have the ponds to walk around. So many restaurants and businesses that offer holiday themed stuff. So we've kind of come up with two future commercial concepts. One would be a Jingle Bells in the Village, which would feature Neil, which we chatted about a little bit. And it would basically be taking Jingle Bells and rewording it so that it's a Village of the Monroe theme. So like, dashing through Monroe, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. With Neil singing, holiday theme, going into local businesses and just like greeting them and seeing their holiday displays and just like this fun, playful way to draw people into the village and check it out and just kind of create more humor and community amongst the village. And then option two is something a little bit more simple, holiday happenings. It's really focusing on what makes a perfect holiday village and the family, friends, and a place to call home, showcasing the things that really encompass that in the village and that, really emphasize our community and the special things that we offer throughout the holiday season. So those are the things that we've brainstormed as two different options for a holiday commercial that we could recycle again. So the cool thing about these commercials is that we would be able to, we created one for this summer and the fall, which we'll be able to recycle again next summer and fall. And if we had one to draw tourists in for the winter, we would again be able to use that next holiday season of 2024 as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out, and that's the end of our presentation, right? There, yeah. There you go. It's something that's important to point out is when we first met, there were a couple of key things that we wanted to do, and one was we wanted to get the pride back and spotlight the businesses and make the residents of the village and really the residents of the town appreciate and have pride as to what's here. We've gotten help from a lot of the businesses and good feedback that have allowed us to come in, whether it be to do a profile for social media or to build a commercial. And that's part of it's a build. It's a slow build. We're 5 months into it. Some of the results you see are organic, some of them are paid as well. We kind of forced people to see it. It fed in the commercial on Facebook, on Hulu, whatever that was. There are some other opportunities out there, but we'd like to film a couple more commercials that are really focused on the holiday season. As McKenna mentioned, people are coming here from outside of the area. We know they're going to Woodbury Common. They're going to other main streets in Orange County. There's no reason that we can't have them stop at Main Street right here in Monroe. And that is going to be one of the goals that we have here during the holiday season. And then we're going to come out with a splash again in the spring. So we want to thank you for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure to work with the village. Neil and Andy and Kim we've had regular contact with, and just the opportunity to present in front of the board and the residents tonight, we appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate it as well. Giving the people great opportunities and options to come visit the village is really critical for us. It's important to keep this community vibrant and engaged, so we appreciate all your efforts. I don't know, Andy, if you and John?
No, it's absolutely great, and there's a couple of things coming on. We at Smith Clove Park, we always light a tree and we sing carols and stuff, so that's something we could throw in there. Merry Crest, they bring Santa Claus helicopters into Museum Village and then gets a police escort through the village up to their location. Pretty exciting. So there's a lot to do. Tim Nitz puts that all together. So there's a lot for the holiday seasons as we start to decorate.
Right?
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'm all
Thanks,
for it.
guys.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
very much.
you.
Looking forward to it. And I was just thinking about the song as part of that commercial idea. If there's a way that maybe, obviously, you would stage it so that every business we walked into, they would take a line or
That's what I was thinking. So you'd be like singing it with part of like with the business owners walking
hop in
through.
somewhere else and
Exactly.
let it push the
That's exactly what
curiosity
you're
and-
thinking. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Good.
Or wouldn't that be so fun? I could still see you doing that too. Like you'd be a karaoke master, you know?
Well, Kim will be ready for you here in the Village Hall to sing.
Right.
No, John, you're coming today.
No, I'll be busy that day, probably.
Very cool.
Thanks
Awesome.
again.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
thank you.
Thanks so
Appreciate it.
much.
Thank
Be in
you.
touch soon.
Thank
yes.
you.
Awesome.
Okay,
The shout out or whatever. I know you are. Yeah, literally.
what was the moment?
I know. I know.
So then we don't have the camera now, is that how it is?
He has stuff he wants.
Yeah.
I know that. They can just-
Oh, got it.
Okay. If they wanted something shouted out though. Okay.
Okay, next order of business is the due process hearing, the code violations against the Village of Monroe's property maintenance law, 58 Winchester Drive, with an SBL of 228-2-6. I need a motion to enter or open up that due process hearing.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, aye.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Due process hearing is open. If you would, just give me one moment. Okay, the due process hearing on property 58 Winchester Drive, SBL of 228-2-6, is being held this evening, November 6th, at 7 PM in the boardroom of the Village of Monroe, 7 Stage Road, Monroe, New York. The hearing is held to review the violation issued by the Village of Monroe Building Department on the following property within the Village of Monroe, 58 Winchester Drive, known as tax map 228-2-6. As per Village Code 155A-6E, general requirements. All land must be kept free of dead or dying trees and accumulations of brush, shrubs, weeds, grass, stumps, roots, excessive and/or noxious growths, garbage, refuge, or debris which would either tend to start a fire or increase the intensity of a fire already started, or cause poisoning or irritation to people or animals, or cause or tend to cause or enhance an unhealthy or dangerous or obnoxious condition on said property or any adjacent or neighboring property. The specific violation is piles of garbage, carpeting, and debris on the front lawn. The hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter, please do so at this time. And just to note that I don't believe anyone is here to represent 58 Winchester Drive in this matter. Time do you have?
7:25.
Okay, I don't believe anyone is here on site to address the 58 Winchester Drive. I'd like a motion to close the due process hearing.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Okay, next order of business is a due process hearing on a property in the Village of Monroe known as 389 Spring Street, SBL 209-1-7. The due process hearing is being held on Monday, November 6, 2023 at 7 p.m. in the boardroom of the Village of Monroe, 7 Stage Road, Monroe, New York. The hearing is being held to review the violation issued by the Village of Monroe Building Department on the following property within the Village of Monroe: 389 Spring Street, tax map 209-1-7, as per Village Code 155A-6E, general requirements. All land must be kept free of dead or dying trees and accumulation of brush, shrubs, weeds, grass, stumps, roots, excessive and/or noxious growths, garbage, refuge, or debris which would either tend to start a fire or increase the intensity of a fire already started, or cause poisoning or irritation to people or animals, or cause or tend to cause or enhance an unhealthy or dangerous or obnoxious condition on said property or any adjacent or neighboring property. The specific violation is a pile of garbage and debris at the end of the driveway. Public hearing is, or rather, excuse me, the due process hearing is now open for any public comment. Okay, just for the record, no one is here this evening to represent 389 Spring Street. And if no one from the public wishes to speak on this property, I need a motion to close this due process hearing.
Ferraro, make the motion.
Carl will second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Next order of business is the approval of the board minutes for the October 17th board meeting. I need a motion to accept them as submitted by the clerk.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business, the appointment of part-time parking enforcement officer, Y. Pino. Resolve the Board of Trustees accept the recommendation of Police Chief Guzman and appoint Yesid Pino to the position of part-time parking enforcement officer effective November 8, 2023, at an hourly salary of $24.47 per hour. The required department background application, physical and drug screening has been completed. I need a motion to accept the recommendation and the appointment of parking enforcement officer Y. Pino.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business, the appointment of part-time police officer for the SRO program, M. Gaitis Jr. Resolved, the Board of Trustees accept the recommendation of Police Chief Guzman and appoint Michael A. Gaitis Jr. to the position of part-time police officer, school resource officer, effective November 8, 2023, at an hourly salary of $36.98 per hour. The required background investigation, psychological, physical, and drug screening have been completed. I need a motion to accept the recommendation of Chief.
Ferraro, make the motion.
Carl will second.
Or call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Thank you. Next order of business is the resignation of seasonal laborer Nicholas Amonte. Resolved, the Board of Trustees accept the resignation of seasonal laborer Nicholas Amonte effective November 3rd, 2023. The Board of Trustees wishes Nicholas well in his future endeavors. I need a motion to accept this.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye. We wish Nicholas all the best going forward. Next order of business is the resignation of full-time court clerk Karen Zadinsky. I did it right? Oh, I'm so proud. Thank you. Resolved, the Board of Trustees accept the resignation of full-time court clerk Karen Zadinsky, effective December 1, 2023. Judge Strauss and the Board of Trustees thanks Karen for 11-plus years of good and faithful service to the Village of Monroe, the court itself, and anyone who came before it. I need a motion to accept this resignation as submitted.
Ferraro, make the motion.
Carl will second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Thank you. Okay, next order of business. This is Local Law 20 of 2023, the amendment to Chapter 200 zoning to regulate pre-existing non-conforming bulk. Whereas the Village of Monroe, the Village Board of the Village of Monroe, New York, duly noticed a public hearing held on October 3rd, 2023, and October 9th, 2023, and whereas the Village Board solicited public comment during said public hearing on October 3rd and October 9th, and whereas the proposed local law amends Chapter 200 zoning to regulate pre-existing non-conforming bulk. Now therefore be resolved that the above whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein by reference. The local law amendment to Chapter 200 zoning to regulate pre-existing non-conforming bulk is attached as adopted as Local Law 20 of 2023 to the Village of Monroe on November 6, 2023. Just to confirm, Local Law 20?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The Village Board hereby directs the village clerk to take all steps to process and file said local law. This resolution shall be effective immediately. So I need a motion to adopt this Local Law 20 of 2023.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay, next order of business is the adoption of Local Law 21 of 2023, the amendment to Local Law Number 4 of 2021, which established the floor area ratios for single-family detached dwellings and two-family dwellings in the Village of Monroe. Whereas the Village Board of the Village of Monroe, New York, known as the Village Board, duly noticed a public hearing held on October 3rd and October 9th of 2023, and whereas the Village Board solicited public comment during said public hearing on October 3rd and October 9th, and whereas the proposed local law amends Local Law Number 4 of 2021, which established floor area ratios for single-family detached dwellings and two-family dwellings in the Village of Monroe. Now therefore be resolved that the above whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein by reference. the local law 2, the local law amendment to local law 4 of 2021, which established the floor area ratios for single-family detached dwellings and two-family dwellings in the Village of Monroe, as attached, is adopted as local law number 21 of 2023 in the Village of Monroe on October 17th. No,
November 6th.
okay.
Sorry.
Yep. So just for clarity, so dwellings, in the Village of Monroe as attached is adopted as local law 21 of 2023 of the Village of Monroe on November 6th, 2023. The village board hereby directs the village clerk to take all steps to process and file said local law. The resolution shall take effect immediately. I need a motion to accept this local law 21 as written.
Ferraro make the motion.
Carl will second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Okay, next order of business, intermunicipal agreement between the Village of Monroe and the Monroe Woodbury Central School District for the purposes of the Resource Office Program. Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorize Mayor Dwyer to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Monroe Woodbury Central School District to provide a school resource officer program in the schools that are within the village's geographical boundaries, which include North Main Elementary, Pine Tree, and Sapphire Elementary. The term of the agreement is from July 1 of 2023 to June 30 of 2024 and is renewed each year upon mutual consent. I need a motion to accept this agreement, intermunicipal agreement with the school district. I need a motion.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Discussion?
Yeah, just real quick. It says within the village's geographical boundaries.
Sapphire is.
Sapphire
Sapphire is not.
Sapphire is not.
No, I think that's just language.
This was just language that I took off of
Yeah.
the old
Okay,
Alright.
so, all right, so what I'm going to do is, you can change it, but what we should say is that within the village's geographical boundaries, which include North Main Elementary, Pine Tree Elementary, and by agreement,
Sapphire.
Sapphire Elementary.
Yep.
Okay, so we had a first and a second, call the question? No.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Next order of business is the certification of unpaid village taxes. Resolved, the Board of Trustees is hereby authorized to sign and certify the unpaid village tax return upon verification by Treasurer Felice that the unpaid tax amount of $266,872.02 is correct. It is further resolved that upon verification and certification, the document is to be submitted to the Orange County Department of Finance by November 15, 2023. I need a motion to accept the certified unpaid tax levy.
Ferraro make the motion.
Carl will second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Next order of business, offices to be filled at the March 18, 2024 election. Resolved, the Board of Trustees designate the following offices to be filled pursuant to Section 104-104, Subdivisions 3A of the election law, at the village election to be held on Tuesday, March 19, 2024, located at 7 Stage Road. 2 positions, trustee, 2 positions, 4-year terms each. Village justice, 1 position, 4-year term. I need a motion to accept this election designation.
Carl will make the motion.
Ferraro, second.
Just got-
Discussion?
Yeah. It says offices to be filled on March 18th, and then it says Tuesday, March 19th.
March 19th, where do you see?
It's March, what's that? Up on the
Up on the top.
top.
Oh, that was
All right, so it's March 19th?
it's not,
Up.
Tuesday the 19th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you had a first, second, further discussion? Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business, the New York State Intelligence Summit for Chief Guzman on November 16 and 17 of 2023. That's 23,
That's 23?
Yep.
Okay,
okay?
I hope to be around.
The New York
for
State,
that.
yeah, The New York State Police and New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services will be hosting the 2023 New York State Intelligence Summit at the Sagamore Resort in Bolton's Landing, New York. The summit includes invites to law enforcement, criminal justice, and Homeland Security executives. The event provides an opportunity to learn about new strategies, technologies, and available resources. Some of the topics include cyber threats, major crime trends, and counterterrorism programs, all in the interest of public safety. There is no cost to the Village of Monroe. Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorizes Chief Guzman to attend the New York State Intelligence Summit at the Sagamore Resort in Bolton's Landing, New York, on November 16th and 17th, 2023. I need a motion to permit that.
Ferraro will make the motion.
Carl will second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business is the authorization of MJS Engineering and Land Surveying for the Village Hall renovations. Trustee Ferraro.
Resolve the Board of Trustees authorize Mayor Dwyer to sign the agreement with MJS Engineering and Land Surveying, PC, 261 Greenwich Avenue, Goshen, New York, 10924, for the purposes of structural analysis for construction of an interior portion for Village Hall, 7 Stage Road, SBL 212-4-12, in the amount not to exceed $12,000 from budget line A 9950.9200, Village Hall renovations, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Second, please.
Carl, second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Thank you. Next order of business is the Village Monroe Board of Trustees resolution concerning violation of property maintenance for 58 Winchester Drive. As per Village Code, Article 1, Section 155A-6E, failure to control trash and rubbish, all land must be kept free of dead, dying trees and accumulations of brush, shrubs, weeds, grass, stumps, roots, excessive and/or noxious growths, garbage, refuge, or debris which would either tend to start a fire or increase the intensity of a fire already started, or cause poisoning or irritation to people or animals, or cause or tend to cause or enhance an unhealthy or dangerous or obnoxious condition on said property or any adjacent or neighboring property. The specific violation is piles of garbage, carpeting, and debris on the front lawn. There has been failure to remedy. Whereas longstanding violations of the Village Property Code Maintenance Law, Chapter 155A, 6E of the Village Code of Monroe, have existed at 58 Winchester Drive, Village of Monroe, designated as tax map SBL 228-2-6. And whereas the property owner has been given proper and lawful notice of said violations and has been directed to correct the violation. And whereas the property owner was given a due notice of due process hearing to be held by the Board of Trustees on November 6, 2023 at 7 p.m., and whereas the owner did not appear, and whereas the owner has not taken the steps to correct the violation, and the violation still exists, and whereas the Board of Trustees is authorized pursuant to Section 155-A8 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize the village to undertake such remedy of the violation at the property owner's expense and cost. Be it further resolved, the village clerk shall mail a certified copy of this resolution to the owner via certified mail. Be it further resolved, any violations that remain uncorrected on the property as of today, November 6th, that the Board of Trustees hereby authorize the village, its contractors or agents to enter upon the property to correct the aforesaid violation, and that all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, and corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such charge shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner if not paid within 30 days of notification to the last known address of the property owner as shown in the village tax records. I need a motion to accept the issuance of this violation.
Ferraro, make the motion.
Carl will second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Thank you. Next order of business is the Village of Monroe Board of Trustees resolution concerning violation of property maintenance for 389 Spring Street, SBL 209-1-17. As per the Village Code, Article 1, Section 155A, 6E, failure to control trash and rubbish, all land must be kept free of dead, dying trees and accumulation of brush, shrubs, weeds, grass, stumps, roots, excessive and/or noxious growths, garbage, refuge, or debris which would either tend to start a fire or increase the intensity of a fire already started, or cause poisoning or irritation to people or animals, or cause or tend to cause or enhance an unhealthy or dangerous or obnoxious condition on said property or on any adjacent or neighboring property. The specific violation is piles of garbage and debris at the end of the driveway. There has been failure to remedy. Whereas long-standing violation of the Village Property Maintenance Law, Chapter 155A-6E of the Village of Monroe Code have existed at 389 Spring Street, Village of Monroe, designated as tax map SBL 209-1-7. And whereas the property owner has been given proper and lawful notice of said violation, has been directed to correct the violation, and whereas the property owner was given due notice of a due process hearing to be held by the Board of Trustees on November 6, 2023 at 7 p.m., and whereas the owner has not appeared, and whereas the owner has not taken steps to correct the violation, and the violation still exists, and whereas the Board of Trustees is authorized pursuant to Section 155-A8 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize the village to undertake such remedy of the violation at the property owner's cost and expense, and therefore be it further resolved that the village clerk shall mail a certified copy of this resolution to the property owner via certified mail. Be it further resolved that any violation that remains uncorrected on the property as of today, November 6, 2023, the Board of Trustees hereby authorize the village, its contractors or agents, to enter upon the property to correct the aforesaid violation, and all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, and corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and that such charge shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner, if not paid within 30 days of notification to the last known address of the property owner as shown on the village tax records. I need a motion to accept this violation and enforcement.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Next order of business, the Hanukkah menorah display at Crane Park. Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the request of Harad of Orange County to provide a Hanukkah menorah display in Crane Park for Hanukkah from December 7th to December 14th. Setup will be coordinated with the DPW. This approval is contingent upon upon proof of certificate of liability insurance. I need a motion to accept the resolution as submitted by Chabad of Orange County.
Ferraro, make the motion.
Carl will second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Next order of business, authorization to advertise for the Justice Court Clerk. Resolved, the Board of Trustees authorize Judge Strauss to advertise for the position of Court Clerk for the Justice Court. I need a motion.
Ferraro, make the motion.
Carl will second for discussion.
Sure.
Is that going to be a full-time position or part-time?
Part-time.
Part-time.
Well, let me step back a second. I believe it's full-time.
Correct, it's full-time. The current clerk that's there is part-time.
It's part-time, but,
So far, would prefer to stay part-time, but that's not definite.
so we're gonna start the process.
We're going to start the process, we'll advertise as a full-time.
So we're advertising for a full-timer.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one thing to talk about. Let me just see. Okay, so you had a first and second. No further discussion. Call the question.
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order of business is request to purchase police vehicle automotive reserve. Resolved, the Board of Trustees approve the request of Chief Guzman and authorize the purchase of one 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe SSV from Denoya Chevrolet in Albany, New York. The New York State bid price for the 2023 Tahoe is $53,997.50. The lighting and equipment upfit quote provided by the emergency vehicle specialist is $14,350.77. The total amount of $68,348.27 will be allocated from budget line A9950.930 Automotive Reserve, which isn't really correct. So what'll happen is, the reserve is where the money is put for the purposes of that. But when the money is expended, it goes into a budget line. So you'll have a budget line in the police department. So I would just say, I don't have it offhand in front of me, but yeah. So what I would say is we'll make a resolution just clarifying that it won't be allocated from budget line or to reserve. It'll be allocated into the budget. This is actually
Transferred from that into.
into the actual spending fund.
Maybe if motor
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I have it for the next one. Because remember there's 2 cars?
There's 2 vehicles,
Yeah, the next one there's no.
2 separate
Next one is-
dealers.
all right, so, okay, so yeah, so let's do that. So it's gonna be the same thing then.
I'll reword it. Okay.
83120.
Okay. All
That one.
right, so you'll make that change?
I'm gonna do it right now. And then
Okay, so just read it back out to me, 8/31/20?
Yes, 8/31/20.
230.
I'm sorry, Kim, one more time?
A3120.230.
Thank you,
Motor vehicle.
thank you. Okay, so, right, so terrific. So I'm just gonna reread that. So the total amount of $68,348.27 will be allocated from A3120.230 motor vehicle PD. I need a motion to permit the purchase.
Carl will make the motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Next order is the resolution of the Board of Trustees approves the request of Chief Guzman and authorize the purchase of one 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe SSV from the Chevrolet of Smithtown. New York State bid price is $49,994. The lighting and equipment outfit is provided by Emergency Vehicle Specialists is $14,350.77. The total amount is $64,344.77. This will be allocated from budget line A3120 motor vehicle. Same thing. I need a motion to approve that purchase.
Carl will make the motion.
Ferraro, second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Ferraro, I.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried, thank you. Okay, let's have a discussion on the park, if we could. So, we found the inconsistencies in Crane Park, of which there's Airplane Park, there's Crane Park, in which Airplane Park remains, and then, of course, all the way down to the falls. One of the challenges we have is we're having some concern about people sleeping in the 9/11 Memorial, vagrants with their shopping carts and so forth and so on, going into the Airplane Park property after hours. And one says 11 o'clock, one says dusk. They're inconsistent. So I asked council to rewrite this so that it reflected a consistent tone, dawn to dusk, except that the bike trail, which runs around both parks, both lakes, ponds, is open 24/7 for the purpose of walking, because there'll be people out there at 3 in the morning walking, jogging. So this is more about just keeping everything in good shape and make sure that we're addressing some of the community that has taken up residence in these properties. So I think she's pretty well addressed that. I didn't go into anything else other than that thing. It was the biggest piece for me. So I wanted the board to be aware of where I was driving this condition.
Mayor, I just got one question. Smith Clove is not included in that, correct?
It is not, no.
So it's the Crane Park, Airplane Park,
9/11.
well, 9/11 is part of Crane Park, so.
Right. Yep.
They're the only, and we don't have any other pocket parks?
Uh,
Friedman Homes, that piece of grass in the back, isn't that considered a park on
I don't know
Orchard
if that-
Drive?
Yeah, I don't know if it is it?
I thought it was. I thought it was like a pocket park. They never did, it was just the kids, over the years just play ball on it, that was about it.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that's a pocket park.
I haven't seen it on the list. I could certainly ask. And what do you call it? Is it-
A pocket park
Yeah.
is what that was a term that I had always heard on that.
I just think it makes it more difficult for the PD to enforce. I think you need to have a pretty clean document that addresses anything of public area for those purposes. I think anything else outside of that, I think you start ping-ponging. We had a guy one time sleeping up by where Kim is, up at the Vets Memorial. He was sleeping behind the wall in the bushes. And and there's nothing you can do to help. We contact mental health, and we ask them to come in and see about possibility of maybe some resources applied, and they're limited as to what they can do if somebody doesn't want to go. So it's not a good situation.
Now,
So-
on this chapter 150, I'm looking, 'cause I know there was a couple of meetings ago, I had brought up about smoking in the parks. 'Cause, I mean, we were down for the concert, one of the early concerts in the summer, and the smoke down there was, for somebody who doesn't smoke, is terrible. But it clearly states in here, smoking shall not be permitted. It's from 150-2 down to D.
2D?
150-2D. I don't know. This is smoking shall not be permitted. I just want to make sure that that's, we're clear on that,
Oh. Why is that in order?
right here,
I have it too, but then I have,
down C. Over here.
I'm with you.
Oh.
I'm just not understanding why 150-1, 150-3, and then 2 is in the front of it.
Because with the marijuana now that's legal,
Right.
a lot of people are offended, it's offensive, and
Right,
you come down to enjoy a concert, the last thing you want is, whether it's cigarette smoke or marijuana smoke waffling in the air, especially if you have kids down here with you.
right.
Just, I think I did respond to the attorney today about the no smoking, because there was some discussion about it would be hard to enforce.
Right.
Um,
And I think that's really what it's going to boil down to. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge.
Well, if the park is posted, if it's posted no smoking, and what complaint is had, especially at these concerts, that's more where you have the problems at, the fireworks. If somebody decides to light up, But again, it's going to be educating the people, the do's and the don'ts of the park.
So what, do you think we need to set up a smoking area? I don't know.
It's difficult to
It's not
enforce,
going to be easy.
but he's right, because any kind of smoke will be allowed now, anything that's legal.
Yep.
So,
I know. And we do not permit the consumption and/or the sale of,
we don't here in the
No.
village, no.
so, well, I guess we have to figure that out, so.
Well, it's written in here, so
Yeah, I see it, yep,
and I'm all for it.
yeah.
All right, I guess we'll just roll that past our attorney
Yep.
one more time,
Okay,
or maybe another municipality. Chester has great concerts,
see what they
see
do.
how they deal with
Yeah.
it.
But that Woodbury just had something not too long ago, I saw, in the legal notices, something with their parks, some, local laws or something they were doing over there within like the last month or 2 months. Not hurt to get a copy of what they got and
Yeah,
look it over.
okay, next order of business is introductory draft local law 2023, local law of 2023, modifications to chapter 182, taxi cabs and scheduling. Just, okay. So the introductory draft local law of 2023, amendment to chapter 182, taxi cabs and scheduling of the public hearing. Village of Monroe, notice of introduction of local law amending Chapter 182 taxi cabs. Whereas an introductory local law titled Amendment to Chapter 182 Taxi Cabs is introduced by Mayor Dwyer before the Board of Trustees of the Village of Monroe, County of Orange, State of New York, and whereas the Board of Trustees finds that it is appropriate to conform its local regulations of taxi cabs to insurance requirements set forth in New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law 370. Now therefore be resolved, the Board of Trustees shall hold a public hearing on said proposed local law at the Village Hall, 7 Stage Road, Monroe, New York, 7 p.m. on November 21st, 2023, and be further resolved, the village clerk shall cause or publish or cause to be published a public notice in the official newspaper of the Village of Monroe no later than 5 days prior thereto. I need a motion to set the public hearing on this introductory local law.
Carl, I'll make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Discussion? Call the question?
Ferraro, aye.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried. Kim, I don't see the payment authorization number 3? No? We never got it?
The paving and stuff, nothing was finished.
Did a draft come down?
I don't have anything for it. Nothing. Never sent me anything. She never sent me anything. Never sent me anything.
What are we talking about?
Talking about the final payment to Regal for the 4th Street water line replacement.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
I thought that was coming down today.
so did I, and I asked, I spoke to John Murphy and John O'Rourke. I sent him an email and he said it would not be ready. It would be at the next meeting.
What do they owe, what do they owe? Do we know?
90? I think there was a 200
I don't know, not even say 242 or something.
total, or
I
there were two drafts. One was 78 and one was 202. And this was,
202, 446, something like that.
Minus a maintenance bond too on that, correct?
yeah, so if it's 375 plus the 31, so that puts it at 410, 411. Take the 202 away, and that leaves it with 209. Take the 78 away, and that's going to put you down around, 130. And
Plus, we had the additional cost of
I threw
third.
that in there.
Oh,
That's with the 4.
okay, all right.
So that's going to put you back down around 130. So I think this one should have been, without the maintenance bond, at 36 is 5%, so that would have been 18,000. So, yeah, there's a $90-something thousand payment due.
Well,
All right, well, it ain't here, so
we don't have it, we can't pay it.
can't
so.
pay it. All right. So John O'Rourke said next meeting. All right. I'm going to belabor the point. All right, then we got to get to that, okay. Okay, I don't believe I have anything right now.
I have nothing.
I got a few things.
Please.
First, we'll start on the a major project going on in this village is the water transmission line from Monbassia Lake to the water filtration plant. That work has started. We are doing a process called pipe bursting, where we're actually bringing the new main, bursting the old main in the ground up to the gatehouse. Right now, we've got approximately 1,500 feet of 18-inch main in the ground. And we're working our way towards the swamp. We're dealing with wetlands. We had a little setback, but we've gotten through that. So that's moving right along. The only question I got, and I guess it's an engineer's question, we got a 30-day emergency permit from the DEC to be in the wetlands.
Yes,
That is renewable one time.
which we're in right now.
So we're probably darn near halfway there, if not, we're 2 weeks into this, give
Yeah.
or take. So who's handling that? Is our engineer on top of that to request the additional 30 days? Because I think we're going to need it
For the wetland.
for the wetland.
I think he is.
Won't be,
He
they
knows it.
probably won't be in the wetland, maybe possibly the end of this week, depending on, they get that trench box set and what kind of soil. We, just to bring the board up to date, up at the gatehouse and down across the stream where the dam comes over from on Bayshore Lake, that main is 24 feet in the ground. So there was a lot of slow moving there. We've had, they brought the trench boxes in. They've had to add 8-foot sections, 8-foot sections. That's all done, that's been backfilled. But it's, the last pit, just before the swamp right now, it's about 8 feet deep. So we're coming up as the elevation goes down. So if you get a chance, it's something to go up and see. Because the pipe that we're bursting is the old, the original main that was put in 1894. It's great cast iron pipe. And this thing comes through, we're bringing 18-inch high-density polyethylene pipe, HDPE, and it's got like a big bullet on it, and they got a hook on the front of it, and they just pull it with a chain through the old main, and it just breaks the old main apart and brings the new main right up. So there's a lot less excavation being done. It's just pits down along the way. So it's, I've been up there pretty much every day. It's just, it's interesting.
Pretty cool.
So we're moving along with that. I did have a question on bulk items with the garbage district, which is administered by the town of Monroe. And I've seen some concerns. I've had them myself. The early part of the summer, I put a gas grill out, and I had to call them 2 different times before it got picked up. This past week, up the street from me, a gentleman put a gas grill out on the side of the street for bulk pickup on a Thursday, and it didn't get picked up for 3 weeks. It just finally got picked up the other day. Mayor, I think you made a call on that. Something is going on, because it seems that there's a vast change in the way this bulk pickup is being handled. And I would have thought or hoped that if they have renegotiated the contract or did certain things, that they at least gave the Village of Monroe and the Village of Harriman a seat at the table to hear exactly what's going on so it can come back to the boards. But, I look, normally in the past, rolled carpet and stuff has been picked up. You put it out there, it's been picked up. Well, tonight we had a thing here, maybe because it might be out of the right of way, I'm not sure, but in the past, you put the carpet out there rolled up, neat as a drum, they'll take it. What I saw here tonight when that violation, that was most of the carpet's rolled up, and it wasn't picked up. The only thing I could think, was it outside of the right of way? I don't know, just the other side of the sidewalk. But something has changed with the way that the bulk pickup is being done. The garbage trucks are coming through earlier and earlier. I know you had spoken to Mr. Morangi, or somebody from his firm. I mean, I've had garbage trucks coming through at 3 o'clock in the morning. Some people don't put their garbage out till 4:30, and the garbage truck has already been by. So I don't know what it is, but it's noticeable just in the last few months that something has changed. And again, I think the villages need to be involved in anything that the town is doing with this townwide garbage district. It's townwide, so we're all involved in it. So, I don't know, Mayor, maybe you can get a copy
Yeah.
of the current contract and a copy of the contract prior to, and let's see what the differences are.
So tomorrow, we'll formalize a letter asking for the current contract and the immediate prior. If we could get copies of both, we'd appreciate that.
All right, and just the next thing was the Calvin Terrace project. Have we heard back from?
Yeah, Tony's gonna actually look to kick that into gear next week possibly.
Okay.
He just needs to see his manpower. He's really putting all his efforts, he's actually put 3 crews out on the transmission.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess at some point you want to pull guys in that are gonna do the job and effectively, so he's gonna keep me posted, him and Brian.
Because again, this will be the last piece of transite water main on our water system, so once this goes off, everything is, for the most part, ductile iron pipe here, so we've, and the transmission line, which is definitely, getting back to that, we've kind of, think we've pinpointed 2 spots where the 16-inch main is leaking. Was brought to my attention today when I was up there. I went down, you can actually see the water coming out of the ground. And then further down, where they did the crossover with the timber mats.
That was bad.
There also. And I encourage and strongly encourage this board to, once we get this 18-inch main online, while we have everything in place up there, is to repair that 16-inch main wherever it needs to be done. You know, whether it's, until we get down and see what it is, it may just be cutting out a section with some dresser couplings and put a new piece in. It might
The
just,
18's online, obviously.
we won't be able to do it until the 18's online. But before the contractor starts pulling up all those timber mats and stuff,
And then we'll have a backup.
we need to do that, because you need redundancy. That 14-inch main was shut off in 2015 because it was leaking, and that was the end of it. So now, the 16's leaking, we had to take emergency action to now go in there to replace that main. So we need to keep that on the table here. That 16-inch has got to get repaired, because you need both mains.
Sure.
Wasn't a difficult, easy lift either.
Yeah, well, it can be done, though. The next thing, I know there was an email sent to the board, and I did meet with the lady up on the Hilltop, Winchester area, requesting the cut-through on the village property. Well, it's not just village property, because on the backside, over by Hilltop, I believe there's a section that's owned by the town. I met with her, I spoke with her, I told her I would bring it to the board's attention, and to see if there was a possibility that we would allow it, but that becomes a liability issue, and I think Elise needs to opine on that. But I did tell her I would bring it to the board, and then I would be back in touch with her. I did go to her house and meet with her, but everything now I'm doing, whether it's on email, and the whole board's on that, so I just,
Yeah,
you
everything
know,
should be by email.
yes. So what do you want to do with that? Do we,
Well, I think we could have council look at it. I think we need a couple of maps
okay,
and look at the total ramification, because it is liability. There's no doubt about it.
absolutely.
I found it interesting in reading those emails that that's actually it's marked as a shortcut or a cut-through on some map somewhere.
Yeah, that, I don't know, I'd never seen that, I don't really know she was speaking, but she did bring it up to me verbally, that's on, I can Google it for you, it's not, you know,
That's interesting.
I
yeah.
never heard of that term.
No,
Not for, not
not for
legally.
something like that, yeah.
Well, again, it actually belongs, it's part of our water distribution. I explained that to her, we have a booster pump station and a water storage tank, and a lot of things have changed since 2001. You know, I went through the whole thing, whether, you know, that they want everything fenced in, secured, lighting on the building doorways itself, and if anybody sees something, say something type thing. So I did explain that to her. And, you know, people see somebody walking through and it's dark out, they don't know who it is. They don't know if it's somebody looking to sabotage the water system. I said, so that all plays into this. So I told her I'd bring it to the board. Also, the other night, now that it's November 1st, up on North Main Street, the cars are parking on the little grass island between the curb and the sidewalk across from North Main Street School.
Oh, those little outcroppings,
Well, yeah, with the little,
things that they've designed into the sidewalk of the street, the
no,
curb.
they're parking, I saw a car parked on it, it was half on the sidewalk.
Really?
Because they're not allowed, it's after November 1st, so, but it's something we got to keep an eye on. Just wanted to bring it to your attention. Also, I just got some communication today from the DEC. I've been communicating, and the mayor is on that email chain with our drinking water source protection plan that we implemented earlier this year. And they have, the information that I have given them has been given to another department within the DEC's agency. There's a concern on the reservoir right now with the boating. The other day while I was up there were 2 boats over by the water intake. So it's pretty clear in the law that was designed by the State Department of Health in 1977, can't be within 1,000 feet of the water intakes. They were right over top of it. So we need to, and hopefully both the DEC and the New York State Department of Health, because they're all involved in this. We did have a Zoom meeting with them, and so we've got to start figuring out what our next step is going to be with that. And the last thing, and then I promise I'll be quiet. 4th of July fireworks for next year. I think everybody was satisfied with Garden State. Looking at the calendar, July 4th is on a Thursday. My thoughts would be do the fireworks on Wednesday, July 3rd, with the rain date of Friday, July 5th. Is that,
Would they let, if there was a rain date, would they come back, or like, they would?
well, I talked to him briefly, probably a couple of months ago. He said, too early yet, too early, get a hold of me a little bit later on. So I want to get him before, July 4th, he's got his set customers, but we know our reasons why. We try to stay away from July 4th, because it costs us a lot more money. So,
If he's willing to leave his equipment, everything set up for a day, because I'm sure they won't break it all back down and to rebuild it a day after.
that I don't know. But Wednesday, as the tentative date, and Friday as the rain date, is that something that we want to move with?
I like it, but.
We don't have a contract yet.
No,
I'm just,
you have to check.
I have to talk to him and say, look, these days will work, and then he can formulate it, put it into a contract, and then when it gets back here before the board, then we can.
And then maybe a backup to that would be the 5th and 6th, Friday to Saturday, if he can't do it.
This whole summer was
I know, it's rained,
wiped out,
well,
but-
rained almost every
But I'm just trying to get ahead of the curve here before he starts, I think he knows we'll be back with him next year, so.
Oh, absolutely.
So then I'll speak with him and see what we can do for the 3rd and the 5th is the rain date.
Yeah.
I'm done.
And I just thought of something, so just for the public and the board, I had a meeting with Kimley Horn, who's our traffic consultant, out on many of the major areas of the village, and we discussed several areas of concern. I don't think I've had one issue. I don't know if you've had, Kim, any calls regarding mine, rentals? No, I think that solved that problem.
I talked to the chief before our last meeting, and I spoke with Debbie. There hasn't been one accident up there since the
No.
four-way stop sign went in.
That's good.
They're usually good for 2 a month.
Yeah, it was a mess. So that definitely cured that. So we're also looking at the Mapes and Spring underneath the train trestle. We had the Kemley One engineers out there. We were at the Mapes and Carpenter intersection. We were at the Pine Tree intersection. We were at the Stage Road, Pine Tree intersection. And we also looked at the Rye Hill Road, Stage Road T.
Okay.
So they're coming up with recommendations for all of us to review, and some cost assessments. The traffic light is definitely warranted, and the DOT has acknowledged that, the New York State DOT.
Where's this?
Pine Tree, Still, and Stage, that's a definite. Now they're just working out some of the other particulars, some of the easier lifts, making Rye Hill and Stage a T, not a Y, helps site clearance a lot. Possibly think about taking the driveway out of 603 Stage Road and putting it out onto Rye Hill.
Okay.
This way, if you wanted to do a three-way stop.
It'll be right next to the other driveway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I gave them a couple of different ideas. So they're going to work on it and get back with us. I think probably by next meeting, we'll have something to share for the
Great.
public and everyone.
Have we heard anything with the 208 North Main, Scunnamunk
They're
Street?
still working. They're still going through the process. They got a big lift there.
It's gotten really bad.
Yeah. Clear zone, okay, edge of the road, okay. Yeah, that was it. You made me think of just, okay, I'm good. Anyone from the public? Please.
Hi, Lorraine Loning, Ironworks Road. Over the summer, you guys mentioned how rainy the summer was, and you might know that Ironworks Road was
Yes.
flooded out many times. And your crew, Aldo and the DPW guys, they came and they cleared out, that little stream behind my house and my neighbors. And I was very impressed with the process. Aldo was very respectful of my gardens and
Yeah.
the way the lawn. You wouldn't even know that all this machinery was there. So
Sure.
I was very impressed and thankful for the job that they did. And we haven't had rains like we had, but we had rain, and so far everything's good. So I want to thank you guys.
Oh, good.
for
Thank you.
that.
I appreciate that. I'll pass that
Yeah,
along.
that was-
Thank you.
It was very nice.
Good.
The presentation at the beginning of the meeting, is that going to replace constant contact? Or?
No,
No.
No.
that'll stay in play, and they'll incorporate into it.
Okay. 'Cause, actually, I came to talk about constant contact, and I love the constant contact. I mean, it tells me about, road closures, water main breaks, and what drives, recycle schedule, all that
Sure.
stuff. I think it would be helpful if maybe you advertise meetings, so that maybe there'd be more public participation, if you send out reminders via the constant contact. But I will tell you, I am bothered by one of the emails that I received. It's promoting a small business in the village, exclusively one small business. And I was wondering if you could tell me how that came to be. Do they access the village email list? Are they paying for that? Are other businesses able to get that?
Who is it, Lorraine?
Bex Hardware. They're getting all these perks that maybe other small businesses or family-owned businesses. I have not received any emails from the village. So it makes me question, does the village have a stake in this business? Does anyone financially have any stake in it? It's just, it smells a little to me. That's all.
Yeah.
So, I'm just wondering why the government is so deeply involved in that business.
They're on constant contact?
Yeah, I get advertisements every time they have
I've never noticed it.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
The village is promoting it, and I think,
Really?
yeah.
I don't remember seeing that at all. And,
So, listen, one of the focuses, and it could be from the group as well, from 23 Marketing, which is where I think it's most likely coming from. So what I'm mostly interested in, and I'll give you my sense of it, why we brought 23 Marketing in, and why I think it's important. So there's a period of time where Planet Pizza, I think they just came up with an ad. I saw it out there, shops at Lake Street. I think Love Bites maybe once. I guess in different capacities, I've seen different villages. And the big thing for us, or for me, in trying to create, is I want people to know that everything is alive and well here. and it's important that they buy into it, understanding in Beck's case, to your question, they're the newest addition, I would say, in the village. They're here a year, this past April. And they've got a pretty heavy nut to crack at 7,000 square feet. So I call them an anchor, like I wish I could call Barnstar an anchor. Of course, it's closed. But it's really important to try to incentivize these people, and putting out a memo like the Constant Contact distribution for them, Love Bites. I think Crystal Curiosity, maybe we did one, right? I think, yeah. So it's just trying to get these businesses to feel the love, if you will, to say, hey, look, we're invested in you, because, you know, I can tell you, I mean, I don't want to say what she pays across the street here, Crystal Curiosity. Have you been in that shop? It's a very, no, it's a very cool place. Anyway, she's got a nut to crack every month, and I want to see her succeed in the best possible terms. I would say the same is whole true for the newest lighting store. I was in to see them. I introduced myself. He came to a meeting, Mr. Falkowitz, and great meeting, very warm type of guy, and he's looking to succeed. I actually sent a client to him already. And I think that's what's important about us. You know, where we can, for no money, create an opportunity for these businesses to, you know, at the end of the day, though, people have to frequent them. They have to go and support them. As you know, I'm a business owner, my wife's a business owner, and if people don't come and use our services, we're no longer there. So to answer your question, it was targeted, I'm sure, through the 23 marketing, and it was at the interest of the village to see all these businesses. I think that's what the Christmas thing is going to be about, is to really kind of go in and capture all these businesses. Like we did last year, we went around and caroled. And it was really cool, and the businesses really liked it. They felt, you know, really appreciated. I went into O'Toole's, which I had underage kids walking into Carol. We walked in, walked out. They were very happy. They clapped. They're very appreciative. It's just trying to set that table, set that model.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a long history of marketing, but
Yeah.
on Wednesday I got this from the village of Monroe about Steel Demo Day. And I totally get wanting to promote the businesses, but it does seem exclusionary, that I'm sure that there are other restaurants and
Yeah.
delis and things like that who also have, and not that they have to.
Yeah, sure.
So if there was a way to expand it to not people so in the fold, if you.
I get it.
Want to put down.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
It seems that there
Yeah.
are favorites. That's all.
Right. No, listen, I got to tell you, so Love Bites, when they came in, we wanted to see every opportunity for them to succeed. They were the first. The shops at Lake Street, you go in to see these little micro stores, and 23 Marketing, I've advised them, I want them in there, and I want them part of the Christmas push as well. So we're into anybody, even if you said, hey, Neil, why don't you hit this one, I'm in, let's do it, you know? So yeah, nothing exclusionary, nothing untoward, nothing whatever, just simply trying to help the biggest the real estate tenant lease in the village survive. That's a big thing. I mean, everybody's got their own little niches, you know, Monroe Farm. You're going in because you like their produce, you like their fish. It's almost like it's built in. We're trying to rebrand that store, because to me, it was like a rite of passage to go into Ross Lumber and to frequent them. As a matter of fact, when Ross closed, they called me up and said, Neil, come on in, we got a lot of great sales. I said, I can't do that. And they said, why? I said, I feel like a vulture coming in for the spoils. I love yous. I wish yous all the best in Florida, but I'm not coming. And I did the same thing with Barry Grossoff. I said, Barry, I'm not coming in. Bought my first suit there as a kid, and I couldn't do it at the
You
end.
still got that, don't you?
I do. And I got the shoes, too.
We're going to go a little bit further beyond Constant Contact. There is music playing, as you know, through the downtown, and later on that'll be expanded through most of the Crane Park area. And we can insert commercials on there, advertising different things that are going on. Again, open to anyone and everyone who would like to have a 10-second spot, a 15-second spot of what's going on. Let's go visit here, let's go here, come see us at this place. So we're doing the best we can to get the word out for everybody, so everybody can stay. One of our biggest problem is turnover, as you know. We get businesses come and go all the time. My heart broke when Java Joe's left. I love Java Joe's. So anything to keep business in place. Trust me, no favoritism. It's open to anyone and everyone. I've gone place to place and talked to a lot of people as if you saw those 2 short films that we made, that was actually 12 hours of shooting to get 2 15-second spots. But we went to as many stores as we could and worked that in. So we're really trying to do that.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I need a motion to close the public meeting.
Carl will make that motion.
Ferraro, second.
Call the question?
Ferraro, aye.
Carl, aye.
Dwyer, aye, so carried.
Thank you.
Lorraine, how's Jason doing?
Have a good night.
Jason, oh, he's great, he's getting married in a month.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow, good for him.
yeah,